2 races to go on this fantastic weekend here at PittRace in Western Pennsylvania. The first of which will be the Supersport Superstock 600. You can see the grid is formed because riders have already gone out and done their sighting lap, and we are waiting for the warm-up lap to happen, Jason. And as we look at the Dunlop starting grid, it's Garrett Gerloff, who 42.3, 1.2 seconds behind with Valentin Debise, JD Beach on row number 1. And then the first of our Superstock 600 competitors, as you can tell by those yellow numbers, that's Anthony Mazziato, Benny Solis on the Supersport bike, and then Michael Gilbert on row number 2.
Yeah, just heading up row number 3, our points leader in Superstock, Jason Aguilar, who did a great job yesterday, had a tip-off, got back up, still got himself some points. Good to see Brandon Posh back. Nick McFadden, we haven't talked about Nick, and he got second yesterday. He did a great job. Good to see Nick back. He's coming back from an injury, and it's good to see him back up. A former race winner Shane Richardson's had a bit of a rough weekend. Good to see Travis Wyman back on the grid, and Connor Blevins outside row 4. Row 5 is going to be headed up by Braden Ort, Jody Berry, Brandon Cleland on the outside there, JC Camacho, Gage Reese, and Isaiah Davis are going to be on our row 6.
And on back through the field, CJ LaRoche, Mark Rhodes, Stephen Dietz, Carl Solitz, Caroline Wilson, and Timothy Wilson on row number 8. But we're not done, as we have 27 riders, including Eric Telger, who was the only rider in 2 days to get in because they had to be 110%.
And I watched that race. Eric did a great job. He ran second most of the race, then took the lead and was able to lower his lap time and get himself on the grid. So that's great for the number 519.
So here we go on our warm-up lap, an opportunity for riders to check out the racetrack, warm up those tires, hence the name warm-up lap. And Jason, Garrett Gerloff sits on 7 wins so far this season. 4 of those 7 have come in the last 4 races. He's on quite a nice win streak.
Yeah, and to put things in perspective, looking at his grid, his lap time, Greg, 42.3 to qualify on pole. This morning in Superbike warm-up, the fastest lap was a 41.2. He's basically a second off of what the fastest lap time was this morning. And people say, yeah, that was 1 lap. No, Garrett, he's running lap times, multiple lap times that are quicker than everybody else. And I'll tell you right now, though, this guy here, Valentin Debise, he had a great start yesterday. Got himself up on the front row, got a great start, ran off the track early, had to come from way back. He was the only real rider that could do 44s. He was the only guy that could do 44s of the rest of the field. So you had Garrett 43s, and then you had him in 44s. I just have a feeling if Debise can get off the line with Garrett, he's going to try to go with him the best he can. We might see Debise jump into the high 43s.
So as riders continue on their warm-up lap and get a good look at this beautiful race course and tons of elevation, you can kind of get a sensation for it there. Really encourage you to come on out and check out this racetrack because it is awesome. As we get close to the chicane, as Valentin Debise now getting his good warm-up. Jason, let's take a look at the Kawasaki keys to the race.
Well, I think the number one thing, we've already talked about it a little bit, can Garrett Gerloff be stopped? I don't think he can, honestly. I don't think that there's anybody that's shown us anything so far this weekend that can happen. So we're kind of expecting Garrett to kind of clear off again. He won by 19 seconds yesterday, incredible. So that would be the first keys to the race. Second keys, I think if Debise can clean up his first 5 laps, or first 3, 4, 5 laps, then he's going to be able to get away with Gerloff early. But I think he's just got to clean up those first couple of laps and then see what he can do, because I think he can dip into the 43s myself. And we talked about it already, Hannah's pick. Can Mazziato get the double? I really wanted to talk about Anthony a little bit because he deserves it. I've watched him at the beginning of the year struggle in Atlanta and some other places where he was just kind of getting back on this 600 and he had to keep picking himself up. He's already a race winner this year. Can he do it again?
Absolutely, and he hasn't had the opportunity to race every single race here in MotoAmerica like he did last year in the KTM RC Cup. So here we go. The grid is set. All the focus now is going to be on the grid marshals and when they clear. So visors down, motorcycles go into gear, clutches in. Revs go up, and watch that red light. When it goes off, it's hammer time. Oh, JD Beach with a little bit of a bobble, but able to recover, and he'll still sit there as Beach has a good position on the inside. The 95 tries to throw it in there. Oh, and Benny Solis trying to go around the outside.
The worst thing that could happen to these guys is see that number 1 get off to a quick start and up to the lead. But that's exactly what happened, and this is what I kind of was hoping to see. Debise is behind him, and I want to see what Valentin does to try to go with him if he can. JD's right there also, and Benny Solis, our top 4 guys from yesterday, are all there again. Then you see Mazziato and Posh with Michael Gilbert off to a good start too, right behind Brandon right now in 7th, and so on down the hill. This is where Greg and I stood at the beginning of the show. This is big uphill for the people at home that have never been here. Big, strong uphill coming up that up into the turn 6-7 area. But you can see here, right now, right off the bat, I think Debise is going to do everything he can to try to hang on to the back of Garrett early here.
Jason, it just looks like Garrett Gerloff. The way he transitions that Yamaha R6 is so effortless. Even when you're carrying so much momentum, it just looks like he's got such a flow with this motorcycle right now.
It does, and really what he does on these opening laps, when you know that you've won by as much as you've won by yesterday, he's got off to the exact start he wanted. Now he's got to just kind of ride mistake-free for the first, like, say, lap, and then he's going to really start pounding out the lap times because his tires will be up to temperature and so on. JD Beach going with him today. That's great to see. JD, I just, you know, we both love watching JD ride. He's such a good guy as well. But he's a fighter, man. He is an absolute fighter, and he'll fight all the way to the end. And it's good to see him be able to kind of go off a little bit early. And he needs to really go. If he doesn't win, he's got to finish second. He has to. He can't afford to lose any more points. 21 points right now is the gap. 20 or 23, I believe, Greg.
23.
And 25 points is a you know, basically he doesn't want to have Garrett leave here with a full race.
Yeah, because 9 points. 9 points is the difference between first and third.
Yes.
And that's huge to give Garrett another 9 points, especially on the win streak that he's been on and the dominance he's been showing these last couple of rounds, because Garrett's good at New Jersey. You know, it's a different racetrack than it is here. It's not quite, you know, as elevated, doesn't go up and down as much, and JD Beach goes good there as well. So
yep. Well, he's good at New Jersey, but Greg, he's a different rider than he was last year. There's a confidence exuding from this young guy right now. He's better everywhere. He's going to be better everywhere he goes. The bike is better. The team is better. But look at what's happening. Debise is going with him. So is JD. I'm going to be really interested to see what this first flying lap is and see if he's able to kind of keep Garrett in sight. The thing that's hard for these guys is Garrett can pound the laps out. He was doing 43s at the end of the race yesterday with a 19-second lead.
Yeah.
And so, but I really felt like watching that race back a little bit, Debise had the pace to go with him a little, and he's showing that to me right now. Fastest first sector was Debise. Let's see what the fastest second sector is as it pops up on our screen. It should come up on our screen right as soon as they're out of this corner here. And you know, but right now, I mean, Debise. Right now, JD Beach, he's fastest in the second sector. So JD's trying everything he can to go with these guys.
So quick through that chicane is the #1 bike. One thing when I was talking with Garrett Gerloff earlier on in the weekend about the M4 X-Star Suzuki of Valentin Debise, he said the Suzuki really comes off the corner well, which really bodes well at this racetrack. This isn't a high horsepower racetrack where the aging GSX-R 600 kind of suffers a little bit on the brand new Yamaha R6 that's a 2017 model, new bike. So Valentin Debise, if he can keep that rear tire underneath him and stay, big bobble for the Monster Energy Yamalu YES Graves Yamaha rider.
Now, all three riders in the 43s, great job by Debise and JD Beach to close that gap down. The sustainability is what I'm going to be looking for. They've shown that they can do the laps. How many can they actually do at this pace? We know the tires are new right now, but you can see Garrett just starting to pull away. Now, the psychological side of this will be when Garrett comes around, he knows he just did 43.3. He comes around and sees +0 on his board. He's going to know he's got some company today going with him. But this lap right now, he's just starting to stretch it just a little bit. He's gained a couple tenths in that first sector. But the fact that these three guys all jumped up and went into the 43s immediately shows that these guys have made some changes too.
And for JD Beach, just to give you an idea, he qualified at a 45.0. And for JD to jump right into the 43.6 for JD is great. Shows a lot of progress and how hard his team is working for him, and the changes in his riding style, the subtle changes he's trying to make. But Garrett Gerloff now starting to eke away from Valentin Debise as much as JD Beach is starting to catch Valentin. So now JD Beach getting on the tailpipe of the M4 X-Star Suzuki rider, the Frenchman Valentin Debise.
Cannot believe how fast he just transitions through that chicane. 34.6, fastest second split of the race. This is going to be maybe another low 43. So these guys here in second and third on new tires, they can get out there and they can do the laps. Let's see if he dips into the 42s at all. If he does that, Greg, it's amazing. 43.2 that lap for Garrett Gerloff as he comes up over the top of turn one. Just look how everything's in control. There's not really a lot of backing in. There's not really any big theatrics. He just is getting the job done. We got Benny Solis running fourth, and here we go. Brandon Posh, and then behind him, you got Anthony Mazziato leading the way again in Superstock. It looked like Travis Wyman was just behind him. And then you got Michael Gilbert and Jason Aguilar, who are locked into this championship fight. They're battling each other right now for that, 8th and 9th place, Greg?
8th and 9th place.
Maziato's
Third.
just a little bit wide there.
Second and third for Michael Gilbert and Jason Aguilar in their individual Superstock 600 championship.
Yep, everybody's together. Everybody's right there right now.
So we are 13 to go in the Supersport Superstock 600 race number 2. As we're back watching the battle for 5th on the racetrack, Brandon Posh and Anthony Maziato, as we talked about a lot last year in the KTM RC Cup races, very familiar with each other from the same part of the country, New Jersey. Been a lot of laps around the next track we go to together. They're on different motorcycles in terms of their class. Maziato's in the Superstock 600 with Posh the 21 on the Supersport machine. But this is definitely one of those things, Jason, that can happen. I mean, especially at this racetrack when you get riders at this level. As we focus back up to the top 3, Valentin Debise starting to eke away, is the Super Sport machines. You're allowed to do some more things to them to get them a little bit quicker in terms of adjustability and electronics, engine, that type of stuff.
And they're on slicks.
And they're on slicks too, versus the DOT Dunlop tire.
43 flat, Greg.
Unreal.
43 flat that time for Garrett Gerloff. Just going to pound out these laps and start waiting to see that board go up to +3, +4, and all that. That's what he's trying to do. But he just doesn't put a wheel wrong right now. You go out and it's just faultless. You go out and you watch these sessions, and here we go. Maziato now goes past Brandon Posh on the front straightaway. He knows that he's got to continue to hammer out the laps and try to get away, because there's 2 Superstock bikes that are directly behind both Brandon and Wyman there. So looks like Jason Aguilar is got by Michael Gilbert also. So those 2 guys are going to keep fighting. By the way, Jason Aguilar went 45-something yesterday on the Superstock bike. So we know he has the pace.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. Aguilar, who high-sided going into the chicane yesterday, picked up his motorcycle and finished the race scoring some points. He is sore, the number 96, Jason Aguilar, on the Riders Law Aguilar Racing machine. So 24 there is Travis Wyman. We haven't seen Travis get into too many races this season. So Wyman showing once again out of Las Vegas on a Supersport bike just how competitive he can be. And this happens in road racing. As you look at Brandon Posh. Posh, you talked about yesterday, started on a team, looked like he was going to be able to do a full season, but he's been here on and off. And a good look at Benny Solis.
Benny's kind of just stuck where he was yesterday, 45.3 being his fastest lap so far. But again, those guys in front, they've been able to find a little bit extra today. Being backed by big factory teams like that, like the 3 guys in front of him. This guy's doing an amazing job on his Callum Ventures CBR 600, and he's just going to keep pounding out the laps the best he can. He's kind of been, we've seen Benny on the podium. He told me yesterday, he said, Jay, my 4th place today felt better than my podiums, because he said, I felt like I really earned it racing with these guys yesterday. And, but today you can see he's got nobody to kind of be with. He's by himself, but you watch the consistency in his times. As we go back to this battle behind Benny, this is the battle for 5th. And Wyman looked like he ran just a little bit wide there. Is that going to give Aguilar a chance to maybe go past him as they head towards turn 3?
Exactly what Michael Gilbert on the 55 doesn't want to see. Aguilar got by him last time he came across the stripe. So Aguilar on the 96, Michael Gilbert, they're fighting it out at the top of that championship. As we mentioned at the top of the show, only 8 points separate Jason Aguilar and Michael Gilbert in that championship. So 5 points in the Superstock 600 title fight is significant at this point. Look, we've seen championships, Jason, have come down to 1 single point.
Absolutely, yeah. So you got to just keep racing forward. Yeah, that's all you can do, and that's and also, Greg, we're only on lap 6 of 16. So again, it'll be how will the tire situations last and how will things go. And but right now, Aguilar, he's looking to try to get by Wyman. He sees this guy getting way up in the front. Maziato and Posh are still battling with each other. Like you said, these 2 guys are really good friends with each other. So. They like nothing better than beat each other.
No question about it. That old frenemy situation.
Exactly.
When you're on the racetrack, it's like, yep, you're my friend. But when the helmet goes on and the visor goes down, you're my enemy. So Anthony Maziato and Brandon Posh continuing to go at it, just like we saw in many, many races last year in the KTM RC Cup. Wyman on the 24 back there, trying to tidy up that chicane. Didn't quite get the drive out, and that's going to open up the door for Aguilar. So that pass really started on going through the chicane for Wyman. He got a little wide, couldn't pull it back and get a good drive. So Aguilar now moves up to the 7th position overall.
And you can see just behind them, Nick McFadden. You can see Shane Richardson coming. Braden Nort just back there. But it looks like right now, Jason Aguilar is the guy on the move. And I'm looking to see his lap times. 46.325 the last time for Jason. That's his personal best lap. And it's not going to take him much to close back up on the back of Brandon. He's already done that. He's already closed up on the back of Brandon and on the back of Mazziato.
And the thing for Gilbert, as he is watching, there's Gilbert, just came into your screen, the 55 rider. Now he's got Wyman between him, but he's got Aguilar on the charge, and he's starting to pull away.
And he's got Nick McFadden coming up quick. So
yeah.
Not only can Michael not lose any more positions, but he's got to keep moving forward.
As we take a look at a replay, this is the pass for this Mazziato taking a pass past Posh as the leader of the Superstock 600 class works his way from 6th up to 5th. And of course, this was that move you were talking about where he's going to be, he wants Brandon to go with him. We've seen this, it's so weird this weekend. We've seen so many riders in so many different classes just say, follow me around, you know, let's not battle because we're trying to close down on Benny Solis. Last time by, though, Solis 0.3 of a second quicker. So up front, it's Garrett Gerloff, 2.3 ahead of Valentin Debise, who has another 1 second ahead of JD Beach. And then 10 seconds adrift of Beach is Benny Solis, who's got 4.8 over Anthony Mazziato in this group. So the laps keep going on here as
Wyman just a little bit wide.
Yeah,
Kane there. Just kind of what he did the last lap, I think. Huh?
Yeah, he just can't quite get it done. Posh, now, if he keeps leaving the door open there, Jason Aguilar with a good front feel is going to really stuff it in there.
Yep, you can see Wyman looking back to see who's behind him. So these three guys right now are going to battle all the way for 5th. And just looking at lap times again, 46, they're kind of in the 46s, and Jason's having a lot of looks right now. He's kind of trying to size up where he's going to get Brandon and do something with him. So you can see how tight he was in the turn 1 that last lap.
Posh trying to go up alongside. He's going to make that move. So Posh gets it turned, and he will take over that spot for 5th.
And now Jason's going to creep up on the back. Mazziato, he's got that race win. You know, there's nothing better than being able to collect 25 points after the day that Jason had yesterday. He's going to be doing everything he can to try to get by Mazziato now and try to go with Brandon. I think these three guys kind of all have the same pace, although I think if Aguilar gets through, he might be able to break away from them. Here's a replay at the start, Greg. Saw JD with just a little bit of a wheelie there. Also, he was able to get the clutch out and get on to turn 1 before anybody else. JD backing it in just ever so slightly. So good clean start by everybody. That's a good sign here.
Back up front, there is the 2.4 second gap. Man, he gets through that chicane quickly. Just got that R6 dialed in, does Garrett Gerloff on his Monster Energy Yamalu YES Graves Yamaha. And we've talked about it, and we can't emphasize enough the change in demeanor of this rider after Dunlop introduced a 180 size tire, a tire that was designed specifically for the width of the 600 rim, a 5-inch rim versus a 5.5-inch wheel. That the 200 tire came from Moto2 that they've been running for the last season and a half. So when Dunlop introduced this tire, it gave Garrett Gerloff the feel on the edge of the tire and the transition ability that he's been looking for since the beginning of MotoAmerica.
Yep, and you see Debise hasn't let him get away completely, Greg. Only 3.1 seconds. It's, you know, this guy's still doing low 44s. JD's in the 44s still, and so these guys definitely found something. But I kind of felt like that yesterday, that he would be able to get himself there. And here you go. Aguilar looks like, did he make a mistake somewhere, Greg? Because Wyman was able to go back by him, and Mazziato, Posh are still there, but Wyman's been able to catch back up and go past Jason somewhere. So I'm wondering if there was a mistake made, or if Gilbert now is trying to close back in on that gap. Man, it's only a matter of time before McFadden gets on the back of these guys. I've been looking for Nick to kind of start closing that gap to these leaders over the last couple of rounds, Sonoma and here. But here comes Nick again, and Nick's still in the hunt for this win.
Anthony Mazziato and Brandon Posh going at it, fighting, and looks like Wyman trying to make some moves on the 24. Getting some good roll speed out of his motorcycle. Now it looks like Posh is more trying to hold on in this point as opposed to being aggressive and making some passes.
He was able to get by, last time we saw him, he was by Mazziato, so I'm not sure if Brandon made a mistake, but also with Aguilar, Wyman was starting to fall off the back of those guys. He made a mistake. Mazziato's got his foot on the pedal. He's on his way, and Aguilar's got a great run on Wyman as they head into the chicane. Looks like he's able to sneak through there, Greg.
Aguilar in the 96 gets by Wyman. We know that Wyman's struggling just a little bit getting in and out of that chicane. So Aguilar, he just has a way of getting his motorcycle right to the apex, Jason.
Yep.
And Posh leaves that door open.
He gets off the bike really early, Greg. He gets off the inside of the motorcycle really early. And it's just kind of, Jason's got a unique riding style in that regard and makes it work for him. He does a great job. But the thing is I'm just, right now, I think if he can just somehow get out of this corner well, his bike is really fast. It works really good up over that hill. You can see it wheelie pretty hard on that time.
Big one, too.
But I think that if he can show a little bit of patience here, I think he can get through these two guys in front of him.
This is the battle for 5th. Anthony Mazziato, the 3rd. Number 516 leading the way. He's also leading the Superstock 600 battle. Brandon Posh on the Supersport bike. He's number 21. He's on the TSE Racing Yamaha R6. And behind him comes Jason Aguilar, your points leader in the Superstock 600 class. Since Mazziato is not a regular contender in the Superstock 600 class, Aguilar is not so concerned in terms of his championship on the racetrack for the moment. However, the difference between, say, 1st and 2nd is 5 points. The difference between 2nd and 3rd is 4. So with Michael Gilbert now still in 3rd spot, but he's got Nick McFadden hot on his heels. Gilbert might lose another position.
Yeah, and that's the thing is that Jason's got to keep racing, looking towards Mazziato. He can collect a valuable 25 points here, but ultimately he just wants to try to beat Michael. But if he can get that 25 points and Michael gets back there in 3rd, then he's gained back a lot of the points that he missed out on yesterday. And Brandon didn't get through the chicane very good that lap. That might open the door for Jason as they go into the next turn.
There it goes. So Jason Aguilar now is going to go set sail after the 600 Superstock leader on the racetrack. Anthony Mazziato back up front, 5.7 seconds now. We talked about this, Jason, 143.8 as Gerloff is having his way, but lap traffic up ahead.
Yep, and that's going to be the thing, but he's got a big enough gap where he can take his time and get through everybody as easy as he can, and that's what he's going to try to do, Greg. He's come up on the back here, see what's how he gets through. There's Eric. He just got through Eric Telger, very safe, and the blue flags will be out for a lot of these guys as they come through, and he's already on lap 11 of 16, so he's only got 5 to go. And the thing is he still did 43s on that last lap. He's still circulating in the 43s.
Incredible with 6 laps to go in this race. A 16 scheduled in the Supersport Superstock 600. It is Garrett Gerloff. He's 5.7 seconds ahead of Valentin Debise. JD Beach is 1.4 back from Valentin, so that battle not completely over. Benny Solis all by himself, 18 seconds adrift of this rider. And then there's Anthony Mazziato, Jason Aguilar, Brandon Posh, Travis Wyman, Michael Gilbert in 9th, Nick McFadden in 10th. On back to Shane Richardson, Braden Nort, JC Camacho, Brandon Cleland, and Jody Berry rounding out your top 15.
Yeah, I'm stunned. I'm looking at our screen right now. I see Connor Blevins back in 16th, so I'm not sure if he had a big problem, but yeah, he's a lot further back than we kind of had expected him to be. This is really going to hurt his championship in the Superstock class. Look at that bike. Just as he gets over the top of the bike there, the thing's wheeling and kind of bucking around. It's not stopping Garrett, though. He's still on fire.
Still having fun out there as we had a brief look at Garrett Gerloff's crew chief, Ollie Hutchinson. And Ollie, just with a smile on his face, enjoys working with Garrett Gerloff. And these are those moments as a crew chief when you kind of really relish, like when your rider is on fire. You know, working on that win streak I was talking about, 4-race win streak, 7 so far in the season. You know, this race is far from over with 5 laps to go, but he is in a commanding position with 5.8 second buffer over M4 X-Star Suzuki's Valentin Debise.
And Valentin is still in the 44s consistently. He's still running those 44s. Get a look at the next, I think Josh Picard might be the next one on Garrett's list here. Yep, here comes Garrett. He's made his way through on Mark Rhodes. Mark's done a great job last couple rounds getting himself in the events and ridden really well this weekend. And Josh Picard will be just up the road for him. So he's kind of catching back markers in good spots too. Look at Josh pulls out of the way. Saw the blue flags, got out of the way, so that was a good thing on Josh. And Garrett's just going to get on his way.
So Gerloff slicing and dicing his way through traffic, putting on another fantastic display. battle for 5th place heating up.
And it's the battle for first in Superstock, isn't it, Greg?
Sure is.
Between Mazziato and Jason Aguilar, who Jason's done can't say it enough. He's done a good job after the misfortunes of yesterday to fight back, get himself in this position for a victory in Superstock. And, I know Mazziato is going to fight to the end with him. So, both these guys are hungry to win. Mazziato would really like to do the double.
So Brandon Posh has fallen off this battle, at least for the time being, with 4 laps to go. These riders still working 5 laps to go for them. They got to get by start-finish line. But, looking at this right now, Jason Aguilar, when I talked to him earlier today, he said his mindset was he needs to get points back, which is a dangerous mindset sometimes in racing, isn't it, Jason? When you're saying, oh, I lost points, he keeps, it's Aguilar side by side, and he stands Mazziato up.
It's a good move. It's a hard move in turn 1 to do that. So
an unexpected move.
Yep, and that's a great pass, though, that he did. And now Mazziato's got to try to get his head down. Really be interesting that for me to now. I see Jason Aguilar went 45.7. As Mazziato went 45.8 as their fastest laps on Superstock bikes. That's incredibly fast. But we'll have to see if Mazziato's got anything left to be able to chase down Jason, because I think Jason with some clear track right now is going to be hard to catch and hard to beat.
So Jason Aguilar sore after a high side crash yesterday. He ran off the track, then he had a high side. He said he was behind, I believe, Mazziato heading into the chicane. Couldn't quite see that new curbing that's there in the MotoAmerica chicane. And as he was transitioning on the gas, he made contact with the curb, just caught it, and that sent his motorcycle flying.
Yeah, and boy, I mean, for him to be able to pick the bike up and get any points, it's tremendous. So we get a little look back here. It's Michael Gilbert running 3rd Superstock. He's still behind Kyle Wyman and Brandon Posh. So Michael's trying to get on the podium for the 2nd time this weekend. He's the closest contender with Aguilar. Now you can see Mazziato has creeped back up on the back of Jason Aguilar, so he's not done just yet.
So back there is the 21 of Posh, who was in this battle early on, and Travis Wyman right behind him in 8th spot. So the battle for 5th place is we have Gerloff now 7 seconds ahead of Debise. Then it's Beach. Then it's Penny Solis, who's off in no man's land. 3 laps to go in this one. This is the top of the step for the Superstock 600 Championship, the closest championship we have right now in MotoAmerica. 8 points, not between these 2 front runners, but between the 96 and the 55 of Gilbert, who's back right now in 3rd spot. So he really needs to put his head down and try to get in touch with these riders if he's going to have a chance.
Oh no, Wyman. That's Wyman just outbroke himself a little bit going up into turn 3 area. So just outbroke himself ever so slightly and ran off the track there. So, it just kind of bailed off the bike there. So hopefully he's going to be up and okay.
Travis Wyman, we saw back part of your screen, got off the track, left-hander, got on the brakes and lost the front end in the grass. Jason Aguilar, the 96. On that Riders Law, Aguilar Racing having his way in Superstock.
Just gets off
screen.
And he's on the brakes still a little bit. But Greg, see, the big thing is that when you got a lot of grass area like that, it's hard to get the bike slowed down. And with a little bit of air fence and barrier that they have out there, you wanted to just get the bike on the ground.
Smart move.
Yep,
Smart
very
move. Garrett Gerloff coming across the stripe one more time with 2 laps to go. We await the arrival of Valentin Debise. So it is the Monster Energy Yamalu YES Graves Yamaha rider Garrett Gerloff, M4X Star Suzuki's Valentin Debise comes across 7.0 seconds drift, 44.9 for both riders. So still putting in some heart-pounding laps on these Supersport machines. JD Beach, a 45.4. So he now will start to drift back. We thought JD in these late stages might have enough in the tank to challenge Valentin Debise, but he's now 4 seconds behind the Frenchman. But all eyes on Garrett Gerloff and another performance that really, I mean, Garrett talked about it yesterday before the race. He wants to show everyone that he's capable and he has goals. Whether those goals are to jump on a superbike next year, to possibly transition to a ride overseas, whatever his goals are, whatever he wants to do. And I know these races are now being streamed live all over the world. All eyes have to be on this young rider, Garrett Gerloff, and what he's able to accomplish, because In the second half of this MotoAmerica season, Garrett Gerloff and his crew have found something very special in his new R6 that has unleashed his potential on this motorcycle, and he's making the most of it.
Absolutely right. And it just looks too easy. And look how the bike just transitions from left to right. Even the way his body moves through there, there's just such little effort for him right now to go through. And it's some people say it's so easy to win races when you're out front by 7 seconds or 19 seconds. It still takes a lot of concentration. He's going to see the white flag lap right now. There you go, the white flag. And he's doing it today with a 7-second lead. It's just really good to see the competition step up a little bit today. Debise didn't run off the track early. He was able to put in some good laps, some good hard laps at the beginning, and do a great job just being able to get down to those 43s. 43.3. So really, when you look at best to best, he was only 0.3 off best to best.
Yep.
But Garrett, the package he has underneath him right now, he's able to just sustain those lap times a little bit better.
Garrett Gerloff working the final lap, race number 2 of Supersport Superstock 600. Gerloff, if he can just manage this last bit of this racetrack, which is pretty solid.
It's a lot of things going on.
Yeah, it's a pretty solid bet that Garrett Gerloff is going to make it. Will stand on top of the podium, but there's still some corners and possibly some lap traffic up ahead as Gerloff just not backing down last time by to take the white flag, a 44.5. What consistency. He sits on the fastest lap of the race, a 43 flat, so only 1.5 seconds from his fastest lap on lap number 4 to the lap that we're on right now, lap number 16. And just think of the confidence he's going to be taking with him to the next round, which is only a week and a half, 2 weeks away.
Yeah, 2 weeks away. And the thing is right now for Garrett is that he comes into the racetrack every morning, Greg, feeling like I'm the guy to beat. Nobody can beat me. I've got a package underneath me. I got a team. I got a bike. I feel unbeatable. And when you get that kind of confidence going, it's really hard to beat a guy like that. And we remember last year, some big fights with JD Beach at New Jersey. Great races, in fact. And now I feel like this guy's even better than he is, or was.
So here we go, race number 2, the checkered flag. And Garrett Gerloff will take victory at PittRace here in Western Pennsylvania. And coming across the line, M4 X-Star Suzuki's Valentin Debise will take it home in second place, and there's JD Beach. So Valentin Debise, another strong finish for him, his second place finish in a row. The 43 Caroline Olsen comes across the line. She'll be in 19th.
What has happened here?
Benny Solis has been caught by Jason Aguilar for position on the racetrack. So Aguilar threw a shot at the Honda rider, and Solis just fought back.
Yeah, Benny got him back in the last corner, but Jason Aguilar, what can you say? A tremendous day for Jason Aguilar. 25 points he's going to pick up for that victory. Mazziato with his best weekend he's ever had with a victory in a second. And then you see Brandon Posh coming there, and you see Michael Gilbert finishing third. Looked like Braden Ork got awfully close to Nick McFadden there at the end also. And Braden ran his fastest lap of the race on the last lap, 46.5, to round out your top 10.
Wow, so it's Garrett Gerloff, Valentin Debise, JD Beach, Benny Solis by .072. over the Superstock 600 rider Jason Aguilar. It'll be interesting to talk to Benny to see what ailments he had, because definitely a stronger race yesterday for the California resident on the Honda. Anthony Mazziato will be 6th overall, Brandon Posh 7th, Michael Gilbert 8th, Nick McFadden 9th, Braden Ort in 10th spot, then JC Camacho, Brandon Cleland, Connor Blevins in 13th spot, Jody Berry, and on back through the field as we know Carl Solitz in 18th and Caroline Olsen in her first weekend in MotoAmerica on the Honda. Will wrap that up and score some points, valuable points in Superstock 600. So Valentin Debise, yesterday, very pleased with second place. Today, we'll have to find out how his reaction was in a race that definitely went more his way. So Jason Aguilar, he has got to be happy after feeling the effects of a big high side crash yesterday in which his bike was okay, and he picked it up and finished. So we'll take a break here on BN Sports. On the other side, we're going to get to victory lane, and we're going to talk to these riders and find out how their race went. So don't go anywhere. We'll be back in moments. We're back at PittRace and the Supersport Superstock 600 battle, race number 2 here at PittRace. over and done with as the crowd awaits more race action. But since victory lane is full of teams and riders, let's go down to Hannah, who has our race winner.
I'm here with Garrett Gerloff, 2 in a row for you this weekend. I think we were counting this might be 5 in a row. We're not exactly sure. He's got a lot of adrenaline coursing through his veins right now. Tell us about your race. How'd you do it?
Today was a lot tougher. Just with the cloud cover, the tires weren't doing as well, and it was really hard to be consistent. And so, I wasn't really seeing as much progress in the beginning of the race as I did yesterday. So, might have been sweating a little bit more and breathing a little bit harder. But at the end of the day, it feels awesome to get another double. Like, that's just what I want to keep trying to do the rest of the season. And just can't thank my whole team enough. Yamaha Extended Service, Monster Energy, Graves Yamaha, Yamalube, just everybody that supports the team, and Ollie Keaton and Garrett Willis especially. Those are kind of my crew guys, and we're doing a good job together. And just gotta say thank you to Shoei Helmets, Cortec Leathers, CD Boots, and just gotta give all the glory to my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. Thank you.
Thanks, Garrett. Great job.
Thanks.
All right, congratulations to Garrett. So there's the tail, Jason. That cloud cover made things a little bit more difficult.
Yeah, but when he goes back and he watches this race, Greg, he's going to notice that his competitors dropped almost a second. Over a second for JD Beach. JD really stepped up today, and maybe that's going to be something that can catapult him and find something for the next 4 rounds. But Debise went from doing 44s yesterday down to 43.3. So I don't know, the pace that Garrett ran to start with was just as good as yesterday, but the other guy stepped up a bit.
Well, let's get back down to Hannah, who has Valentin Debise ready to go. Right, Hannah?
He's just zipping up, making sure we get all those sponsor logos in there, of course.
There you go.
So, double second place finishes for you this weekend after a streak of some pretty bad luck in the middle of the season. Tell us about your race.
Yeah, it's great because we worked a little bit this morning, and the bike was a little bit difficult, and then we did a couple small changes, really small, and I way better like the bike, and so I was able. I was like Garrett went away a little bit after 2 laps, and then I was keeping his pace. Then he went faster, then he went slower. I get back on him, and maybe at this time I say, okay, I have to push to make sure that I go back. And when I push, and this time I make a mistake on the new chicane. So on the left, I go straight, and my bike wobble. I went in the grass one more time, but this time I escape faster from the grass, and then I say, okay, I won't go back on Gerloff, so I just try to make consistent lap, and I see that I'm not so fast. So it's a big pleasure to be here. Thanks to my M4 Suzuki extra team, they make a really great job as always, and I will keep improving, and I get every time closer from the victory. So I will try again and again and again.
Thanks, Valentin. Jason, Greg?
All right, thanks. So not without drama for Valentin Debise on that one.
Yeah, no, exactly. But that's because he's pushing. He's pushing awfully hard, and he's an experienced guy. He knows when enough's enough, and he gets those little warnings of running off the track, and he's able to get right back on. And because Greg, for the first 6-7 laps there, the gap was kind of steady, and it was because this guy was riding the wheels off that Suzuki to get himself there. And I'm interested to hear what Hannah has to talk to JD about, and hoping that maybe they made some changes overnight that we'll see him through the rest of the year. Hannah.
Jason up in the booth's wondering if you made any changes that you made overnight for today's race, and how you managed to get back on the podium today.
Yeah, so from the race yesterday to today, we made a lot of changes, and we've kind of been struggling with the bike the last few rounds, and I think we finally in the race, after the race, we had a long talk with my crew chief Mike and Chris Lessing, who does our suspension, and I think we finally pinpointed what's wrong with my riding and why I'm riding the bike the way I am, to try and fix some things. So now we're finally, I think we have a direction to go with the bike, and the start of the race, or the first half of the race for us was a lot better, and I felt really good on new tires, and we didn't quite have the pace as Garrett, but we felt a lot better, but we definitely didn't have the pace with used tires, but I think we have a direction, and we're just going to keep working that way.
Well, congratulations, JD. Great job. Jason, did that answer your question?
It did. I love it. I'm glad that they found a direction for him because the guy's way too good to be finishing as far back as he is, and it's simply going to be something that he's got to get together with his team and find out the reason why he's getting pulled away from in the spots that he is. And if he finds somewhere that he gets a little bit more comfortable, then he's going to start getting that flow back. And the thing is, Greg, is he can look at his teammate and see what his teammate does in front of him, and see some of those things, and start to try to adapt the same kind of principles.
All right, Dunlop results have Gerloff, Valentin Debise, JD Beach, and JD's got to go look at the best time, a 43.6 to a 43.0, much closer than he was yesterday and way closer than he was in qualifying. Aguilar will lead the way in the Superstock 600 over Anthony Mazziato, who gets a nice second, and then Michael Gilbert just behind Brandon Posh, Nick McFadden round out your top 9, and then on down through the field. You can see that Connor Blevins, Jason's choice, didn't quite pan out, but 13th overall for him. Jody Berry in the mix in 14th on back through the field. You can see a mix of Americans and Canadians and Norwegians, as Caroline Olsen will finish 13th on her Honda. Santa told us yesterday, and so she'll finish 19th on the track, 13th in Superstock 600 and collect herself 3 points, as well as Timothy Wilson will get that last coveted, valuable Superstock 600 point. So there's your Dunlop results. Let's take a look at standings here, because as we look at it, you can see that Garrett Gerloff is pulling away from JD Beach, now 32 points on our J&P cycles. Valentin Debise 100 back. Benny Solis now 117. He didn't lose a couple points to Jason Aguilar. He might have. And then it's those Superstock 600 riders from 5th through 9th. We'll take a break on BN Sports. Don't go anywhere. Superbikes are looming in the distance. Here's a look at our podium as Garrett Gerloff gets to stand on top for the 5th time in a row. The Motul podiums has Gerloff, Debise, and JD Beach. 1, 2, 3 in that one. And this is the moments when they just cherish. Jason, what kind of emotions are you feeling when you're on the box like that?
Man, when you're up there like that, there's a few different ones for each rider, obviously. JD right now is hoping that he's found something. Maybe he can take the challenge to Garrett the last 2 rounds. Valentin is probably just really happy to be back up where he's at. And the guy up in the middle there with his crew chief Ollie, they're just trying to keep the ball rolling.
Trophy in the air for Garrett Gerloff. Now, there were 2 races, of course, going on at one time, and the winner of the Superstock 600 is Jason Aguilar.
Now, Jason, you had a little bit of a crash yesterday. I noticed you got some fresh leathers on. You worked really hard to show those off on the top step of the podium today, and you accomplished that. Tell us about how you fought your way to the front. What was going through your head when you were trying to catch up to everyone?
I got a good start. I just got kind of held up in turn 1. Had a battle trying to get around Wyman and Pash and Gilbert for a little bit, got around them. Just set my sights on Mazziato. With about 4 laps to go, I made a pass on him, and I tried to check out. We caught the back of Benny Solis, which actually almost ruined the race for me, but still brought it home. I'm happy. I'm really sore. I'm still feeling it from yesterday, so I'm not feeling too great right now. But, happy with the win, happy with 25 points, and looking forward to the next one.
Well, congratulations. Now you got 2 weeks to rest. Jason, Greg?
All right, thanks. So, yeah, just about 2 weeks where Jason Aguilar gets to recoup before it's off to the next round. And it'll be interesting to talk to Aguilar and Benny Solis to see what happened there towards the end of the race. We kind of caught the tail end.
Yes, we did.
Of that fracas.
Yep, but you know what? This guy got himself up off the ground yesterday and did exactly what he needed to do to show everybody, hey, I'm not out of this thing yet. I had a bad round yesterday, but great job for Jason Aguilar. Here's some race highlights. And right off the bat, Garrett Gerloff was able to get off to the start, and that was what everybody didn't want to see. And pretty much from that point, Greg, he wasn't challenged, obviously. Debise and JD both put in very fast opening laps, but they weren't able to kind of sustain that pace. And we saw Brandon not quite get out of the chicane as good as he needed to, which allowed Mazziato to sneak up underneath him. And you can see Jason Aguilar was already starting to nip at the heels, trying to work on that, trying to figure out where he was going to go by. But once he was able to get by Brandon, he then set his sights after Mazziato, our winner from yesterday. He snuck up underneath him into turn 1. And at this point, he was kind of doing his thing to try to get away. We saw Travis Wyman run off. Such a bummer. It's great to have him back, but good to see him up. Glad to see him up and walking. Garrett Gerloff, though, as he started his last few laps, he was doing so with an 8-second lead, Greg, and he made comment about it not being as easy as yesterday, and that was really because the guys behind him stepped up. Still, that's 5 wins in a row now, I believe. All the Yamaha guys are happy, and this guy's on top of the world.
So that'll do it for the Monster Energy Yamaluba YS Graves Yamaha team. MotoAmerica on BN Sports was presented by Dunlop Motorcycle Tires, the only motorcycle tires designed, tested, and made in America for how you ride. And powered by Kawasaki. Let the good times roll.